Trying to get this. See, this is what this is the little kids. Everybody's panicking. This Erica, what is concentrating on homeless sleeping? The schools are out of control. The kids are out of control. The crime is out of control. They underreport crime. They're molesting people. And nobody was out of control. I sat on the train yesterday. I was being molested. Adult, Black American male. Not that ethnicity matters. I went to the library also. The Hispanic police officer in the library, he always cuts with the Caribbean and the Black Americans harassment. Yesterday, my crime was said I read too much newspapers. You have to listen to the newspaper you read in the library. I'm like, excuse me? That was my crime yesterday. Harassers. They give me his badge number at the Brooklyn Library card number 11. So they just find ways to get you my interest and then they threaten me with their gangs and we're going to get you to kill yourself. So this is what they do. You're with the prisons, I'm in a correctional section. And that's why I was held up. And those kids, I knew they were trying to rub their body on me. So they position kids to try to rub their body on me. Adults, to rub their body on me. My mother said they used to harass her everywhere also. Ever since the police took her home. My mother said drugs are part of a narcotic gang, like a Black American narcotic gang. My mother ran away to Pennsylvania also to arrest her in New York after the police took her home. Here in New York City, Staten Island. I said our drugs were trying to kill her also. One of my mother's daughters, Ayinde. One of my mother's daughter's husband, Flora, whose name is Flora. The daughter's name is Flora, her husband's name is Ayinde. He works for the U.S. president. So we try to punch my mother. And my mother's an old woman with a heart disease, so my mother would the police wouldn't help my mother in Pennsylvania. So my mother went from Flora's house to Bolanley's house, who's another daughter. My mother. I said, "That one would leave snow on the floor when it snowed, and my mother would almost trip on snow." Because my mother has a heart problem, and my mother was like feeling like that daughter was just to trip and fall and die and be committed to nursing home. She didn't want my mother to leave the house. He doesn't want my mother around. I said, we leave snow on the floor. So I guess I was just trying to get my mother to trip and fall committed to the nursing home or for her to die. So that was just very narcissistic type. So, and my mother said that dress started poisoning her food. Like heart and freeze poison. When I was having bloody diarrhea. So around that time also, somebody came to visit and the person tripped on the snow and fell down. They had to rush the person to the hospital. So my mother said that's when she started shoveling snow herself. Even though she's an old lady that has a heart problem, they told her not to be shoveling stuff. So she did that. Even the snow was already, was already stuck on the ground. I bought a house since she was like 23 years old. I was always responsible. She used to work as a paralegal for a criminal defense law firm in Pennsylvania. I used to work in the hospital also. So my mother said all of a sudden, that daughter was jealous that me and my mother was suing the NYPD for taking her home, me and my mother's home in New York. Even a Black American that was helping me and my mother with that lawsuit, Eric Garner was helping us with lawsuit paper. The police found a joke in there. And my mother was saying, our daughters were moving with a gang in Pennsylvania that was affiliated with killing people for money, especially that Polanyi. And my mother said they were just trying to get her killed. And that Polanyi was feeding my mother cancer, freeze poison type or synthetic marijuana type poison. My mother didn't know exactly what it was. Anytime that Polanyi gave her food, to give her bloody diarrhea and would make her started having symptoms of a heart attack. So my mother fled back to New York. While she was on the bus, she started having the heart attack on the bus. The Greyhound bus, the Greyhound bus driver to pull over around May 13, 2015. So, in the express, we had to pull over to wait for the ambulance. But my mother was like, told the bus driver to keep driving to New York. Like, she's just tired of Pennsylvania, the way our girls were treating her. When she got to New York, she collapsed at the Greyhound station on 42nd Street, and they had to rush into the hospital. And while she was getting treated in the hospital, Bellevue Hospital, those daughters invaded the hospital without my mother telling them what hospital she was in. Like 3 days later, they came to the hospital and they told the hospital to lock my mother up. So they speak American English, my mother doesn't speak American English. And because of that, the hospital joined in to harass my mother. So this is what they're doing. They're harassing us for kids, adults, doctors. And my mother passed the mental test and they still locked my mother up. So my mother died fighting. She was like, this is too brutal. What is this going into? She can't escape for you can't win for losing in life as a foreigner with a foreign accent. And she was abused to death. And when she died, I told the hospital I wanted the autopsy. They told me no. And the abuse still goes on after death. And for 10 years now, no lawyer would help me. They're harassing me with little kids, make sure I don't get nothing. And the Nike also is putting an ad, say you don't win nothing, win this time around. And they put a female basketball player holding the ball with her hand. In Penn Station, they don't help me as a foreigner. My mother dead. Someone helping me, Regina dead. I don't win nothing. And the Nike has now put an ad on Penn Station in a few this year, say you don't win nothing. Win this time around. I had a female basketball player holding the ball. So I was born a male. I'm now a woman. So I guess they're telling me to sell my egg. It's just some lesbian always need a man to give them egg. So they're telling me to sell my egg to a basketball player. Then eventually the police will kill me on the street, and the basketball player would take my child and raise it as their own and win the money for the child. So this is savagery. And as a black American basketball player also that joins in and insulting me. His name always escapes me. I don't know what is going on. I don't have dementia or anything. I just don't care too much for basketball. But he lured me to start following his Instagram because he would appear on Instagram as a charitable person helping homeless. He sells shoes. He was born in California, but he now plays with Adetokunbo and for another team somewhere else in the US. The Nigerian Greek player who plays for the Greek national Adetokunbo. I always forget his name. So I was following this account and I begged him for money because I always have problems getting the right shoes to wear. I wear size 13. This one is size 11. So I always wear it without fully wearing it because it's too tight. And I begged that one for money. It's a black American basketball player born in California, and he didn't respond to me. And soon after that, some black American kids were kicking me in Brooklyn as soon as Erikadan won the mayoral election in 2021, December. And my mother said, don't let her to do that. When she was going to school in Bronx, elementary school, high school. So as those kids were kicking me, I called 911, like some black American kids. I kicking me with their leg, and somebody's recording as I'm being dropped at the basketball stadium in Atlantic Avenue, Brooklyn. And those kids are screaming, like this ones were screaming. So we're not black Americans, we're from Trinidad. So my mother's daughter, Blondie, was born here in America, New York. But me and my mother, were originally from Nigeria. And the kids were sitting us. I was like, okay, this is very interesting. That they chose Trinidadian American kids to kill me. And so I ran into a store across the street, and those kids came with metaphors and glass windows, things like this. I was traumatized. And the guy was traumatized. I called 911, locked the door so they couldn't get in. And when the police came, the white guy that owned the store told the police he wants the police. That the kids were chasing me to the store and put the glass windows. So I told the police, send the police. I need the police to call us. And the guy was like, no, we're not giving you nothing. And told me to go away, and told him also to go back inside the store. And told me, and the police left. And the kids also were just standing there watching. you know, and I'm like, these kids, they almost got me killed. The cars was about to knock us over, was about to chase me around the street, and the cars was about to burn. So whoever paid them to do this is risking their life, and this is child abuse. And the police wouldn't help me. And this year, they said a bunch of kids like that attacked me like that. So they attacked another guy called Michael Hernandez. I believe it was this year or last year. He said he was sitting there and this kid jumped them and stabbed them to death around the Atlantic Avenue basketball stadium. So somebody's feeding these kids drugs or whatever and telling them to go wild. And even an MTA train worker is the union boss. Tramel Thompson said those kids are going to kill somebody in the train soon. So then they're either going to carry the person and put him to the train track. I said, I also heard there was this girl, our parents brought her from Bangladesh, and she said she brought her to high school in America. I said in high school they didn't like an accident or something like that. The kids were troubling her in school. And so one day they found the girl on the train track and the police refused to investigate. They said they felt her, they dropped herself. And her parents are saying, why would she go to school in the morning, come back in the afternoon on the way home, and I jump into the train track? People that are suicidal, wouldn't. It was just, so now it's, the police refuse to investigate it. So I believe they said that's the best way to kill somebody, make it look like fresh. And then the police arrested me, they wouldn't let me use the bathroom either. I went and locked me up in the mental ward and put there depressed. So that is just weird. So there were some kids acting up, harassing people. There were some kids here earlier, they were acting up, harassing people. There were some kids here shouting, they were harassing people, they went on the train. Can I make a police report? There were little kids shouting, they were harassing people.
So, they leave already?
Yeah.
Alright, there's something that we can do about that. So,
Can I just have your badge number?
my what?
Your badge number.
You got it?
I thought that was what you were responding to. No?
There's nothing going on now, right? So you good?
Okay. But they were acting very disruptive though. The camera was okay. Can I have your badge number also? Yeah. So there's a girl who they don't care. Set them to be friendly because friends. And then how do you use the side violence? And they all did dismiss it as nothing. So this is what they're doing, they're playing cover up. So they took me to the mental ward 2019 and that means as depressed. So right now some kid could just push me into the train track. Train panic. I jumped myself. So FIFA is not safe to bring Africans here for the World Cup. And they didn't want to report it. So under this regatta, they're covering up crimes. I felt those kids were waiting to jump. That's why I put it behind. So they follow me around. There's some black American gang. Excuse me, guys. You saw the way those kids were acting, right?
Huh?
You saw the way those kids were acting.
Yeah.
And why didn't you call the police? You didn't want to? You're used to seeing that.
All right.
You saw those kids acting out, right?
I just see no kids out here. We just got here.
None of you saw it?
No, we just got
Yo,
here.
said it's
Huh?
said it's
I'm sorry, did you see the kids that were acting out?
No.
I saw you guys in the background.
No, there was 3 other guys.
The other guy?
The whole new team.
Yeah, some kids were acting out. And everybody said they didn't see nothing. They said the girl from Bangladesh also, they saw on the train track, nobody would step forward. So, they said this is what we could do. People cover up or choose not to want to get involved. And so many incidents that happened like that. Even there was a woman, she was in the toilet room, but the police were in the toilet. On Sunday, I believe today is November 4, 2025. Today is a Wednesday. So Sunday must have been, 3rd will be, November 3rd will be Tuesday. Let me just confirm. Oh, so November 4th, Tuesday, November 3rd, Monday, November 2nd, Sunday. So November 2nd, 2025 Sunday, around 8 a.m. While I was on the train, a guy was like grabbing his guineas. He was wearing the Nigerian flag, like green, white, green. And sat in front of me. It looked like he may be African also. I was on either the 2 train, on a Sunday morning. And it's like he knew already I was headed for the bathroom, so as soon as the train got to 34th Street, he quickly got up and went and held the door for me. I'm like, why? Why would this guy know my itinerary? He's a total stranger to me. And he looked like an African, so I wasn't all that suspicious. I was like, okay, usually I get jumped by Black Americans. And the guy was grabbing his fingers and went and held the door open for me. And as soon as I got when I got to the bathroom at Penn Station, so white women were heckling me. So you think you're special? You think you're special? And as soon as a Spanish worker for the train station came, I was banging on it. I was talking to me like a monkey. I was like, what are you saying? Stop banging on the door. And then the police came, kicked me out of the bathroom. And the police followed me outside the station. And then the video was immediately erased from my phone. And while the police was attacking me in the Penn Station bathroom on Sunday, there was a Black American woman. I think they planted her there. She may work for Dow Sharpton and Eric Adams. And she said her name is Jackson. And I said, excuse me, miss, you heard Adi was talking to me like a monkey. And she said she heard everything. I said, please, what's your name? She said, her name is Jackson. I said, would you like to testify for me in court? She was like, no, delete your video. That I don't want to keep part of your video. I was like, you don't have an option to not report a crime, miss. And then Al Sharpton was like, I was listening to his radio show on my earphone, on WBLS. And he was making suspicious statements, that some of you need to keep it moving. And I stood by the Penn Station outside. I was trying to upload the video. And then I Sharpton was saying on the show, some of you need to keep moving, go to points. I normally, walk from that Penn Station like 1 block over to Broadway, 7th Avenue. I walk from 7th Avenue to Broadway to take the train to Queens. I was still talking about points. Some of you need to keep it moving. So it was trying to, like, our mother FBI surveillance, the immigration arrested me, for coming to the United States with my mother in 2000. So they said this Eric Adam, he works with that Sharpton, and he has a lot of spies in the FBI that always tell him someone's under surveillance. They say one of his building commissioner, Ulrich, when they arrested him, he was snitching. That, Eric Adam would always tell people that who FBI is watching, and before anybody distracted me, like this how Sharpton was saying, some of you need to keep it moving. And before I realized what was happening, I'd already raised the video from my phone. I was trying to upload it to YouTube, but the only good thing was I was able to upload it to my Google Drive. So it's like a sex trafficking ring involving some Black American being arrested. I normally use my bag. Can I please get the biggest vacuum? Can I please get the biggest vacuum, number 4?
I just put somebody in there.
Okay, I'll wait.
But you don't hold it up too long, but I gotta keep it moving, alright?
Okay. This is